Welcome to Taking You Home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate every Thursday morning at 7:23, Saturday at 7:50 here on KNSI. Start your home search at VoigtJohnson.com. Heidi Voigt, good morning.
Good morning.
So today, talking about working with local people, very, very important.
It is. There's a lot of benefits to it.
It keeps the money in the community, doesn't it?
That's huge for me, and I think that a lot of people think that way, but sometimes you have to nudge people that don't think that way, why they might think that way.
Yeah,
right?
kind of steer them in a different direction.
Absolutely. So I mean, money stays here, it gets spent here. Those are benefits, and I realize that we're in a world economy, and sometimes people say, well, I can save money by doing this, but the save now, does it cost us later? That's what you look at.
Now, for me, I remember when I was a kid growing up, if I needed a loan, I went to the banker. His name was Harley Ameth, and I just said, hey, Harley, I need $1,000. I need $2,000. He goes, sure, sign here. That was it.
Yeah.
Right? You know the banker, you're playing high school football with his son, those relationships are already there.
Yes.
Well, welcome to 2023.
Yes.
Some of those relationships may not be there. What do you do?
Well, I think you do your research a little bit, and I think in the process of buying, or even if you're selling or buying, or if you bought before, any of those dynamics, financing is key for most people. There's not that many people that buy cash, and the dynamics of internet banking were definitely a thing before COVID. It became more prevalent during COVID because we had to do just basically everything.
Sure.
Remotely.
Absolutely.
So I do think at that point, we saw a lot more people just branching out and using lenders from wherever, right? I see some pitfall in that.
Sure. You know what we need to say is that you are a realtor.
Yeah.
You are not anybody that deals with, you're not a lender. You're not an insurance person. You're a realtor.
Correct,
Okay?
correct. And as a realtor, my job is to dictate to people where pitfalls in their transactions may evolve, and choosing the wrong lender can create a scenario that's not beautiful.
And listen, everybody's got to jump through those same hoops, right? You got to qualify. Your debt to income's got to be the same, and there are all sorts of rules and regulations that everybody has to abide by. But still, when you know that person, I think it helps.
Well, and not only does it help, but I mean, I think the first and foremost is that the goal isn't just to get approved or get a loan or get a piece of paper that says I can get a loan. That is not the goal. The goal of having a relationship with a real estate agent or a lender or a title company or any of those things is really looking at the full transaction of what I'm doing right now, how it's going to affect me later, and how it's going to affect my resale later on. So a lender is a big part of that because they're going to sit down and with you, and that's the benefit of using a local lender, is that you can physically go meet them and sit across from them, and they can get a picture of your whole financial situation, right? If you're doing something online, they'll be like, well, if you say, well, what do you want to put towards the transaction, and you tell them, you tell them X amount of dollars, they're automatically going to dump you into a loan that says, okay, well, you're 5% down, and this is the loan we're putting you into, whereas, they might say, you do 10%, this is what you're going to save, and this is how it's going to look, and this puts you into a different program or a different interest rate or different closing costs, whatever it might be. You're not going to get that if you're not talking to somebody. Why
it may be better for you to do it this way.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly, and that's where I've seen that, and I guess the reason this became so top of mind for me is I recently had met somebody, met them at a listing, basically, that they had called on, and they had been working for about a month and a half with a lender out of the cities to get them pre-approved, and this was actually their secondary bank, but they just called, and they finally got a pre-approval letter, and wasn't probably the best kind of pre-approval when you're trying to compete. And I said, let's get a second opinion. Let's find out, and I've got a local lender that you can talk to, and they were completely approved for a totally different program that opened the gateway for them to purchase all sorts of different properties, and it was all the difference in the world. But it was because somebody sat down and talked to them about what their situation was and created a platform for them to win.
So we talk about this all the time with another guest, dialing 1-800-WHO-CARES.
Yes.
Because they don't.
Yeah.
They just want your money. They're going to do their best deal to make their most money in their deal. So yeah, working with a local person right across the desk, eye to eye, right? It's the only way to go.
Well, yeah, and then you have multiple people in your camp that are looking out for your best interest. You've got your real estate agent that's looking out for you. You have a local lender that you can walk into and talk to and create a good dynamic. And I think the other thing with us, and we've talked about this before, is that, you know, when you look at a person as a paycheck,
right,
it's not a good thing.
Right.
And when we're in a down market where there's being less loans generated and less homes sold in general, people are going to be viewed as paychecks more than they have probably in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think that you need to be conscientious of that.
And here's a good thing, I think, that the market has slowed down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because of higher interest rates. I can't imagine as a lender what it must have been like a realtor a year and a half ago. How do you talk to these people when you've got 50 other people to talk to? Mortgage rates are changing, 50 offers on a house. How can you help people the way you can now?
Yeah, well, I think that it's kind of one of those things where you go into it and the education that a long-term local lender is going to have is also going to come in and benefit some of these people, because when you have those higher interest rates, I don't want to call it creativity, but ingenuity and trying to map out a path of success for people. It's all the more reason to sit down with people and look at the long-term plan. And when you're dishing out a lot of transactions like that, it just doesn't work.
And when you talked about the approval letter, oh my gosh.
Yes.
You can get an approval letter for almost any kind of money, but is it real? Can you afford that? No, but a local lender will be much more reality-based.
For sure, and there's certain local lenders that you visit with, and you know, you're doing a transaction, even in your multiple offer situation, you have 6 offers in front of you. If 4 of them are exactly the same, you know, we'll have sellers that will say, well, I recognize that bank, or actually they gave a loan to my neighbor and they were excellent. I mean, there's some you know, brand recognition and when it's local, so there's some benefit.
Or I know that guy.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
That really helps.
Yeah, it does.
Heidi, how can folks work with you at Voigt Johnson?
Well, you can reach out to us via phone, 320-774-2400, or visit our website, VoigtJohnson.com. We've got a great menu of agents that have a vast amount of experience, and I know we have a good match.
Makes a huge difference.
It does.
Taking you home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. You can hear it every Thursday morning, 7:23, Saturdays at 7:50 here on KNSI. Start that home search at VoigtJohnson.com. Heidi, thanks.
Thank you.